Lab Coat Agents. It's Tristan, Nick, and Lindsay from SmartZip. Today, we'll be talking about, we changed the topic. So what is it now, Nick?
It's farming, but not like real estate farming, like farming tomatoes and lettuce and milking cows.
I love it.
That fell completely flat. Hey, listen, I just want to say thank you so much for being on the webinar. If you're watching this replay on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that little red subscribe button, and then hit the little notification bell. So whenever we post up a new webinar, you get notified.
Love it, man. Good job.
Let everyone know. Don't forget
stuff here. And why not? While you're at it, go to our podcast, follow us. Lab Coat Agents, easy to find.
Yeah,
follow us on Instagram.
Apple Music. Yeah.
Just Google Lab Coat Agents and follow everything that we do. All right.
Yeah. Just go to the Google and type in the lab coats.
The Google. So today we'll be talking about farming like a boss. Let's get right to it, man. Let me share my screen here.
Yeah, farming's a lot of fun.
It is if it's done right. I think a lot of the times we find that a lot of agents start farming, they don't know where to start and they approach it all wrong. I mean, Lindsay, you're high up there in SmartZip. I'm sure you see.
She owns it. She's the owner.
I am just out there, not the owner of SmartZip. Yeah, I mean, I've been here for just about 5 years, and yeah, I mean, hearing the trials, the tribulations, and the success of agents just starting out all the way to top brokers and owners, and everyone has the same, pain points really when it comes to farming. And so that's why I love partnering with you guys to, talk about how to, first of all, kind of face your fears about farming, right? And then the tools that are out there to help you to be really successful in farming, because it really is one of the tried and true strategies of real estate to consistently list, and dominate a market.
Well, think about it, Lindsay. I mean, before there was the internet, that's all we had.
Right.
And so, I mean, that's not all we had, but it's a good portion of what we had. And I think we forgot with technology out there, we forgot to go back to basics. And I love SmartZip because it's a little bit of both. It's back to with smart analytics and technology. So intermingling the two is very powerful.
I think that's where the name came from, SmartZip.
Yeah. So let's learn how to farm like a boss.
Let's go. So Bill Gates says patience is the key element to success. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Perfect.
It's very beautiful.
And Nick and I, thank you, Nick. Nick and I
No problem.
Always feel like patience is the key to farming. And in most cases, with most of real estate, patience is the key. And I think with farming, Lindsay, you've seen most agents have a farm for a year or longer, and they're barely breaking into it at that point.
Yeah.
It takes a long time, and I don't think people that are starting off realize how long it truly takes to break into a farm, right?
Well,
Right.
I'll tell you, like we're using SmartZip now in Michigan, and I was using it in New Jersey, but when I moved to Michigan, I started using it a lot more heavily here in my Michigan market, and it's been about 4 or 5 months, and it is paying off big time. Like, you just see the evolution of the engagement, and now like we've got a few listings coming on. And listen, if you don't have patience, this is not for you. If you want the right now, it's not for you. If you want to build your pipeline and build recognition in a specific area, then this is for you.
You got it. So here's some stats from NAR. The median number of years a seller remained in their home was 9 years. That's up from a few years back. And now you look at a few years back, 6 years. It was 6 years before. And I think obviously because we all went through this recession in the US and around the world, people are staying in their homes a lot longer because they had no equity to sell. They just couldn't. So that's why that time increased. What we like to see is these numbers. So it gives us a better idea of who we're targeting and how we should be approaching this. So the next one, the highest tenure in a home was for detached single-family homes, where sellers typically live 10 years. So it even got a little bit longer. I love that. And then obviously mobile homes, manufactured homes, sold after 9 years. Not a lot of us really target those, but there are still some who do. I love this one, Nick. Sellers who were 18 to 34 years of age had the shortest tenure in their homes, selling within 4 years.
Well, I think the reason for that is because a lot of those people are probably young couples or newlyweds. They don't have kids. They buy a small home. And then after a few years, they have babies and they start growing out of it. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, totally. So this gives you an idea when you farm, start looking at your demographics, which we'll go into, but find where a younger demographic is living if you do want to target this, so that you know they're going to be moving every 4 years on average. Right, you start looking at this, you're like, oh, maybe I should be approaching this differently. Because a lot of us don't even look at the homes that we're targeting. Who lives there? Right, and look, compared to those over 75 years of age who sold their home typically after 17 years.
Hey, can I say something based on demographics that I just thought of a good point? So a lot of people I talk to, they're like, oh, I want to farm this neighborhood because I live there, right? And it's like, as great as that sounds, that might not be the best use of your marketing dollars if the turnover rate doesn't make sense.
Very true. Very true, man. All right, so Nick, what do you think of this graphic?
Okay, so the process of farming. Yeah, this is very, very, I think it's very accurate. So,
this is my favorite, sorry to interrupt you too, Nick. This is like my favorite graphic you guys have like.
The reason I love it is because it really gives you a great example of how impatient most agents are, right? Because they don't even take any of this into account. So, look, it can take up to 4, I would even say, Tristan, sometimes 6 months for people to start to recognize you. And something I might add is that they're not going to recognize you if you're not consistent with the branding and with the mailers that you're sending out.
Very true.
Right.
That's why big corporations like Nike and Disney, they're recognizable because their logos and the way they portray their company always look similar. Like you can recognize it, right? By looking at it for a few seconds. And so you have to not only have patience, but have consistency in the way your mailers look.
Very true. Very true. And besides the consistency, there has to be a call to action, right? A place where people can go and visit, or people can learn more about whatever it is that you're trying to have them learn more about.
Right.
It just can't be a postcard. And if it is, then you're just working on branding with no place for them to go and you can lock them in. That's why I love using tools that can help me understand where these people are coming from, how many calls I'm getting. And we'll show you some of these tools that we're using. But this is Nick's quote here. So I'm going to let him use this one.
Oh, it is? Oh,
yeah,
what is
the next one is, you'll see. Go.
Oh, this is my quote. Is this my quote?
The next
Nick
one. The next one
says, what's the number one mistakes agents make? Oh, this is a good quote. If I do say so myself. They try to be everywhere. So the problem with agents are they try to take listings all over the place. And when you take listings all over the place, you're not seen in one place as a local expert. So be in one place a lot, not everywhere a little. I can't stand it when agents are taking listings like in any town possible, right? If you want to dominate a specific area and be that go-to agent, go smaller, because when you go smaller, that's going to grow your business even bigger because your signs are going to be seen repeatedly over and over. Oh, we should call Nick because I see his signs all over the place in this area. He must know it really well. So just keep that in mind when you're taking listings.
To put that in perspective, I was speaking with a team lead last week. She's been in real estate for 10 years. She's got a team, and she does. I can't remember off the top of my head, but she does business. She should be in your panel.
$1 bajillion?
$1 bajillion a year in revenue, and she sells $1 trillion. But, you know, I was talking to her about, you know, because she wants to farm, you know, she knows why and, you know, she wants to farm and why it's important. And she said she's even in the past, even more recently, it seemed like gotten hit with talking to a prospective listing. And then they'll go and tell her like, oh, but I got this postcard from this agent like 6 months ago and they say they're the local expert. So I think I might talk to them before I move further talking to you. And she's like, what? Like some random postcard from someone that says they're the local expert? And like, here I am like 10 years into this business and, you know, I do great, you know, work and you're going to go off of that, right? The local expert. So they want her out because they were omnipresent, you know, they were the local expert to that particular homeowner.
Yeah, that's a good point, which segues into the next screen. Thank you, Lindsay.
Sure.
Appreciate it. So we like to tell people to be a niche celebrity. And here's the difference. You hear from different people out there that you should be the digital mayor, and that's cool. You know, a mayor's voted in, and a mayor runs out of term after 6 years. Is that how it typically works? 6 years?
Something like that.
Yeah.
When you're the mayor of your area, you can be voted off the island.
Exactly. And so being a celebrity, being a niche celebrity in the area that you want to work in really doesn't die out, right? It really depends on you, on the things that you do. And so this whole thing that we're going to talk about here is really being that niche celebrity. You want to go out in your area. You want to go to the supermarket, shopping. You want to go to the park, and you want people to recognize you and be like, oh, you're the guy that I see on social media, on the postcards, door knocking, open houses. You just got a listing over here. That's what you want. You want to create that presence. And the tools that you're using will only help you create that presence even more. That's the whole purpose of this. So step number one, choose your area. Here's where a lot of agents fall short because they're starting too big. Right, Nick? They just start way too big. We've seen agents that want to start off with 5,000 homes and they're brand new to the market. I'm like, no.
Craziness.
It's nuts. The first time we started, it was a mistake that I made. I chose an area that had, I think it was 3,700 homes, and I'm a rookie here, all right? First month in the business, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to just cover this whole area, and I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. So I realized way later that I should have started small. So when I went to my new farm, I started with 500 homes, and then I studied my map. I learned the demographics, and most importantly, I saw that it fit my lifestyle. Like I was going to drive through the area often enough for me to know that I was actually going to stop by and door knock and be of influence there. Lindsay, with SmartZip, do you find that it's a challenge for some agents when they come in, they want to cover a huge area, or what do you guys recommend when it comes to this?
Yeah, I actually see sometimes too much or too little. So sometimes it's like, they say, oh yeah, this when we get to our map and I can literally draw exactly where someone would want to farm, they go, yeah, that whole area is fine. And I'm like, well, no, we want to be really specific about it. Tell me exactly where you want to be. And then sometimes it's like, I just want these few hundred homes. I don't want anything else. The good news is that we can facilitate small and big, but we do it in different ways. And if you're truly geo farming with us, we usually start our clients out at around 2,000 homes total to get to the best 400, that are most likely to sell. And so your whole recommending 500 homes is right in line, because even though we can draw out a long-term plan of about 2,000, you're going to hyper focus on those few hundred. And so we probably got that from, us knowing that that's enough sample size for our data to be effective, and also just seeing what agents can be successful with. You can only prospect, only get to, and only market to so many people to have any effect, right? So you can't boil the ocean. So you need to, do it the right amount, and then you can grow from there, right? Add on as you can.
I've never heard that quote. That's actually a pretty cool quote. You can't boil the ocean. Nick.
It's not mine. I stole that from Keith Robinson, Chief Strategy Officer at Next Home, but I love it and I use it all the time.
That's cool. Can't boil the ocean. All right. I really like that one. All right. Step number 2, study your farm. Agents, we're usually like, let's go, right? And we don't really study our farm. It's just we don't do it. And so here we want to, when we're talking about studying your farm, we want to know how many have sold in an area. We want to know what's expired. We want to know what's canceled and what's been withdrawn. Obviously, what's active too, right? But we want to know some history here because we want to know what it's going to look like when we start working in this area. Is it worth it for us? Right? Are there enough souls?
I mean, that's kind of like what I said before in terms of like people wanting to farm areas because they live there. That might not be your best bet. So study what's going on in the area where you live, and if it makes sense, then go for it. But if it doesn't, then you got to look for an area that isn't really saturated by. Well, let me take that back. Obviously, study solds, expires, cancels, and withdrawns. Also study if there's any one agent that has market share there, or if the signs are just kind of sporadic, right? And there's no rhyme or reason for the signs in the yard.
Well, I think you headed right into step number 3, which is study your competition at that point. And Nick was saying it's time to do a SWOT analysis. Find out what agent, right? What brokerage, who there owns that area. And is there an opportunity for you? And you won't know unless you do a SWOT analysis, right? Find out the strengths of those agents that are representing buyers, sellers, what they're doing there to promote themselves. Are they using SmartZip already? Are they buying up all the zip codes on Zillow and Realtor.com? Are they already mailing? Do they door knock? Do they have events there often? Find the strengths. Then you go into the weaknesses. Well, what happens to their listings when they take them? Are they all overpriced? Are they all expiring? I remember when we did this initially in a luxury area that we were working, and I'm not going to say where because those who are listening will know exactly who I'm talking about, but it's a luxury area. We found that this agent that was working it, they would take the majority of the listings in this area, like over 70%, which is huge. And it's a luxury market. And over 50%, it's huge.
Huge.
Would expire. Over 50% of these would expire and they would get canceled. So to me, that was a huge, huge, huge weakness. And one of my friends, who you know, Nick, took advantage of that and now owns the amount of listings that go there. So weaknesses, study. And then opportunities. Once you look at the weaknesses, you'll find the opportunities. What is it?
I said, finish him.
I love that.
Find their weaknesses and then do a Mortal Kombat. Pull out their spleen. Not really, but.
And that's where you get opportunities.
Real estate.
That's where you get opportunity. You find that, well, look, if their weakness is over here on the listing side, then that could be an opportunity. If you find that they're not mailing, that they're not door knocking, that they're not doing certain things, those are your opportunities.
Well, I mean, if you find they're not doing video, they're not doing professional photos, they're not doing staging, they're not doing Facebook ads, you find they're not doing certain things, take those opportunities to offer more value to the homeowners in that area.
Exactly. And then threats. Well, look, you know yourself better than most people. Maybe not your mom or your dad, right? Or your spouse, but for the most part, you find.
Well, my mom says I'm the best realtor on the planet.
I would believe her.
Well, that's what my mom said.
Definitely. Find what the threats are long-term. Where can you fail, right? Where in what you've done in the past, where are you going to suck? And I think that is almost the most important one at the end. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. For us, it's been follow-up long-term, the nurturing part. And so we know that because we did this. And so we plugged our holes. We're like, you know what? Let's automate the parts that we suck at.
Yep.
And that's how we got to this. So do a SWOT analysis. Not many of us do this. And that's step number 3. Nick, step number 4.
Create
really well.
Valuable content. And I just want to add, not just any old content, right? So once you pick your farm, after all we've discussed, create content that's specific to that farm. You know, create content that people in that area, that demographic, that price point would appreciate, right? Like if it's a luxury price point, you know, you're going to want to focus more on like, you know, I don't know, you're a luxury price point, Tristan. So like I'm in more of like a first-time home buyer market. So I'm going to like, you know, want to focus on schools and restaurants in the area. And I think a lot of people care about that, but I think that, you know, the more luxury you get, you know, private schools come into play a little bit more, right? So they could, you know, but so I don't know if schools, you know, but when you're younger, like in your mid-20s, early 30s, you know, you really care. You care about different things in a $200,000 price point than you do at $1 million price point. So just make sure that when you're creating this content, it relates to them. That's
a key point. If you're looking at a luxury area, you look at what amenities the area has to make these affluent people feel like they belong there, right? Whether it's the schools or the golf courses or country clubs or whatever it is, right?
Tea time.
What'd you say?
There's anywhere that there's tea time, you know, rich people like to drink tea.
High tea?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
But anyway, so yeah, create a website with a blog, IDX, make it local. And that's great for SEO, especially, you know, in my area, there's a lot of subdivisions, right? So I live in a subdivision called Walden Creek, right? So it'd be a great opportunity for me, well, I just got an idea, right? To create a website around my subdivision, right? And so that's great for SEO. A newsletter that can go out to everybody, whether it's in print or email. If you don't have email addresses, I mean, SmartZip does offer email addresses. If you wanted to also,
yeah, we'll get to that awesome letter. That's our favorite one.
Video content. So you know you can run a lot of great Facebook ads around your market with specific videos that relate to the people in that neighborhood, and then obviously drop-offs. You know, like things that people care about. You know, calendar of events is really powerful. We do that in our monthly newsletter, and people really appreciate that, you know, so, and be timely with it too. Cause every month there's a holiday, you know, be timely with what we're sending people.
Here's where we were failing on this a lot, Nick, because it's a lot of things to do. And if we weren't able to automate a huge portion of this, there's just no way that we could consistently create all this content on our own unless we have a huge amount of spend to do this. And so I wanted to go on the cheaper side to be able to help me automate it. And SmartZip has been able to do that because they do go on to social and they post out our things as well. I don't know if you've seen some of it, but it's been pretty good. Besides the mailers and the postcards and the news, that letter, what do you call that letter, Lindsay? The one that everybody opens up. We
usually just refer to it as the handwritten letter, but I mean, in technical terms, it's the digital handwritten letter.
Yeah, so I know we've talked about this a ton.
Yeah.
But every time the letter goes out, if it goes out for Nick texts me, he goes, dude, this letter crushes. And then when it goes out for me, I'm like, dude, I love this letter. Damn it.
Can I read you the latest letter that we sent out? We got 9 inquiries, and we actually got a listing appointment from this letter.
Do you have it so you can show it? I'll switch the screen.
I have it. No, I'm going to read it. I don't have
go ahead and read it.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Keep talking, and I'll find it.
I'll just say while you're looking for that, because this goes into creating valuable content, as a person who's not a real estate agent, right, on the other side, getting constant postcards in the mail, no matter, I don't care how big of a postcard you send me. That really does not matter to me. Those like giant ones, I don't care about that. And then
I'm going to send you one the size of your door from now on.
Yeah, I mean, all the drop-offs, when they're always about real estate and always about the listings, like honestly, like that doesn't set you apart because every agent's always doing it. Of course, you show an aspect of it, but the things you guys are talking about, I care more about knowing when the farmer's market down the street from me starts, you know, and the whatever parade. And I mean, again, you know, and for someone who lives in California, in the Bay Area, where I have to try to constantly justify to myself why we're paying an arm and a leg to live here. And then you get to see the resources that come from the community I live in. It makes me feel better. Like, oh yeah, this is why I'm, you know, paying for what I pay for to live here, instead of look how expensive these houses are. And I'm going, yeah, I know.
Here's the letter we got. We actually got a phone call on this letter, and they received 3 postcards prior to receiving this letter. And I'll tell you why, because we customized the letter, right? And we're farming my agent's subdivision. Her name is Sunshine. We're farming her subdivision, and it has about a 7% turnover rate, which is huge, right?
Yeah.
So, and I get the copy of the letter in the mail at my house every day so I can know when it goes out. But it goes, Dear Nick, it's your Westbrook Manor neighbor and realtor, Sunshine, with Superior Homes Group again. This spring market is heating up and home prices have started to rise. It's a great time to be a seller. This is the customized part. Well, so is the other part, but this is really customized. I've gotten 132 buyer inquiries this month from buyers who want to live in the area. And can you blame them? And many of my colleagues ask if I know anyone in our neighborhood who wants to sell. Since inventory is low, I want to reach out in case you or someone you know is interested in selling. And then the rest is like the call to action to find out their home price. But think about here's where it gets really specific, okay? She lives in the neighborhood, and she mentioned how many people contacted her about homes for sale in that subdivision.
Right.
It's actually social proof, and it got us a listing appointment. I have to check whether the guy, I think he's like 4 or 5 months out from listing, so we got to nurture still. But the fact of the matter is that caught his attention, you know?
Right.
So just be as specific as you can. Honestly, be honest about it. But the more specific you are, the more of a chance you have of getting someone to call you.
That's very true. That's super key. And I love that letter because it feels like it's super custom, and it has a great call to action where people actually have to input something to get information back, and it works. I still don't know why the hell it works, but
I think because it comes in an envelope. And by the way, I noticed that you guys changed this cardstock on the letters. They're really thick and nice, so props to you guys for doing that. And it looks super professional, and you can customize it, and you're speaking to the person, right? It's not just a postcard. And it's like people open envelopes no matter what is inside. They always open an envelope.
You never know. Even though most of it's junk, I still open everything. I just know. In fact, opened up a thing from Oregon, University of Oregon, because our eldest goes there, and it was a check. Thank God I opened it.
Yeah, we love money.
Yeah, it was a good check.
But you know what? That's a really good clickbait for our newsletters. There's a check inside.
Yeah.
Like,
just kidding. I mean, yeah, it looks like that, right? When people are receiving it. I don't know how people are gonna be able to see that. And there's different fonts, you can choose. And then, yeah, it's a nice cardstock. It's going to be branded to exactly what your guys' branding is. There's a lot of customization you can do in the header too. I saw a lady do a really cute, like New Year's, like fireworks thing on top.
Oh,
and
that's
then,
cool.
yeah, I mean, you literally type whatever you want.
oh,
Again, it's branded down here, all the call to actions. And you're right, Tristan, like we can give a lot of guesses as to why it works so well, but like that, it just does, right?
Because it's more authentic and more personalized than the postcards.
Right. But it's so key, like you said, Nick. I mean, we offer 3 templates to work off of, because I know it's hard to start from scratch when you guys are constantly trying to think of marketing as realtors and stuff. I mean, it's not easy, but the more authentic and specific, just like you said, that you are,
Lindsay, can you pick up that card? Can you pick up that letter? I just stopped sharing so people could see it.
Okay. So, this is generic. So imagine your guys' branding, however you do it. You've got the handwritten portion, different fonts. I don't know if you can hear me when I'm covering my mouth. And then this is the part that, Nick was reading off of. So, you're going to specifically type in whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be signed, branded. And the whole thing is, again, if they're not going to call you directly, like, you got Nick, which is obviously the ideal situation, they get to go to a very specific branded landing page that comes with, SmartZip, so they can check out their home value, and then you guys get notified when they even just enter the site.
And so let me tell you what we do before we call them, because you have to understand, people aren't asking you to call them when they go to the call to action. They're asking for information.
Right.
So I recommend not calling. Send them a market analysis in the mail. Send it priority so it looks official. Get a delivery confirmation on that. Give it a day or two, then call them and ask if they received it and if they have any questions. Don't just pick up the phone and ask if they want another home value. All they want is info. They don't want to talk to you.
Right.
So send them the info, and then when it's delivered, give it a few days, and then call them. These people aren't going to sell tomorrow, so don't worry. You got time.
Right. Well, it's just like when real estate agents come onto SmartZip's website asking for information, and usually a lot of times it might be like, if you want to get some, information on their farm, like an analysis, that actually requires one of my, sales execs to like draw out where they want to be and then give them some numbers. And it's very soft and value giving, just like you guys giving like a CMA, but it still requires a human interaction.
Yeah.
And so when they go on the site, and they request information, and then we call them, they're like, I don't want to talk to you.
Right.
So we're all in that seat. Salespeople are scary to us, but we still need them. We need professionals to help us do things, but we all have, that guard up. And I came from selling cars, some time ago, right? Talk about being in like the worst like industry for reputation, right? So you have to come from, contribution of giving valuable information and just continue to give it until they tell you, I don't want you to tell me that anymore.
Right. Totally.
That's very true. Very true. I agree. All right. Let me reshare screen and go back to.
Let's keep going.
Yep, here we go. All right. So here's what it looks like if you start building this out. Travis, this is Travis building out one of his things. But if you want to be everywhere, you look at posting up on social, just listed, open houses, new homes, have them visit the websites. At that point, grab their information and then you retarget them. You have a retargeting pixel, so retarget them. Now you have this lead, and then you can show them whatever you want on social. You can create a new custom audience or just retarget them with different information about the community, right? The point is not to spam them, but to come and give them value about the neighborhood, about things in the area. So that's just a cute little outline so you can see how that works. And then when people are searching online, we put this in here so you can see on the left, they're searching in the community and they're like, oh, wow, I know Tristan, let me click on it. And if they've already visited, just view website, it remembers you. And then what happens is you start scrolling for properties. You're like, oh, this was a cool one. Let's scroll here. And then on the right side, switch over to the right side on that iPhone. You can then start seeing more. You're like, well, this looks like a cool home. I like it. Maybe I should heart it. I'm going to favorite it. I love it. And let's take a look at more information on it. And then if you're done, if you want to share it, you click it, share it with whoever you want. It lets us know on our end. And then we know what to do right at that point. You shared it, you're favoriting it. You sound like you're actually a serious buyer or seller at this point. So we know what to do with this type of lead. But the point is to be online, to be on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, not just mail. And part of the content is actually creating video as well. And you can take a look at here, the top 10 how-to videos on Facebook. The top videos, period, on social media are really how-to. You look at how YouTube is used right now, and it's usually on, hey guys, it's me playing a video game. Let me show you how to build this house on Minecraft. Or, hey, it's over here. I'm going to show you how to do this on this. But it's always instructional, right? Those are the most watched videos. So think of this for real estate. How can we start teaching people more on social, whether it's about your community or outside of your community, and it's just in general, like going to a home inspection, what to look for, top 3 things to look for when you're doing a home inspection. Or, hey, I just remodeled the backyard, and these are the things that I found the most challenging, but here's how to do it the right way. And all of a sudden, you're coming for value.
Yeah, people just don't do YouTube right. You got to remember, YouTube is a search engine with video.
Right.
So if you're putting videos up there that go 123 Main Street for sale, people aren't searching like that. People are searching how to do this or what is this. You know what I'm saying? So, what to expect when buying a home, how to apply for a loan, things of that nature, how to find a realtor. So if you're title, and you got to title your videos like people search, and they're more apt to be found when they're posed as a question.
Yeah, that's important. And start creating better content. It just can't be, hey, I'm at an open house, or hey, I just got another listing.
Because guess what? No one cares that you got another listing.
Nobody does. Well, maybe my mom cares, but that's about it.
My mom cares because she says I'm the best realtor, so she definitely does care.
There you go. All right, so why is this important? Why creating all this value from different types of sources, whether it's mailing, newsletters, online, video? Why is it important?
Because reputation of the agent was the most important factor for 31% of sellers.
Yeah.
That's a crap load of people selling their houses that care about that.
Yeah. Above how awesome you are at tech, right?
And above what your mom thinks.
That's like, dude, that was a close second though. That was like,
yeah, I think like 29% of people cared about that.
Yeah, and they call up your mom and be like, "So, what do you think of Nick Baldwin?"
They ask for any recommendations. I give them
references.
I need some references.
My mom's my reference. Yeah,
the best. So this is why it's important to create your own reputation through the things that you're doing, the ways that you're communicating, the value that you're giving back to your community through postcards. And that's why Lindsay was saying, if she gets a whole bunch of crap mail from agents, which is, I just listed this, I just sold this. Like, that's crap mail.
Yeah.
It's
Look
spam.
how cool I am. I got another listing.
Yeah.
So,
Number one, team in the area. I'm like, I think you all say that.
Yeah. There's 37 number one agents in my town.
Yeah. Everyone's the best.
But you should read the fine prints, like number one agent according to Nick's mom.
Yeah.
So,
You should do a letter.
Hey, why are you talking about my mom like that?
I'm talking about you, not your mom.
My mom's got nothing to do with this.
So this is why it's important to work on your review sites, your social media, your websites, your videos, and come from that point of, what am I giving back to the community? And how is this reflecting on my reputation? Is it making me look like I'm the go-to expert through honesty and integrity? Or what is it saying about me?
And by the way, we're not saying don't tell people you're selling homes. We're saying don't shove it down their throats. Like, don't just go for the kill, right? Like, do that later once they get to know you a little bit.
Well, your website and other content will still reflect the types of things. Like, if I got to know someone like authentically and I was like, that was really cool, and then I found out they're a realtor and I'm interested in buying or selling a home, and then I go to their site and wow, they have some really amazing listings, or wow, they do a lot. Like, now I'm like, okay, now I think now you're not just a cool person, but you're a really good real estate agent, right? It being like secondary almost, as a person who's not a realtor on the other end of it, like, that would make me want to work with them more than just, okay, let me look at, like, if I were to go search number one realtor in Dublin, California, again, first of all, like, a bajillion would come up. And then how do I discern that? So that's a good point.
I mean, think of it like this. When you go on your first date, you're not going to ask the person to marry you,
Why not?
You might, but that's not usually going to work out in your favor. So you got to ease into it. When you go on the first date, you're not going to be like, hey, you're not going to be like, hey, I'm Tristan and I'm really awesome at everything. You're not going to do that. You're going to ease into that. that you're going to ease into that conversation, you know, like take it slow.
I love it. All right. So making your videos matter. I'm actually in the process of reading this book. I'm on page 147. I'm almost done.
Is that the Steve Passanelli's book? Oh, is it good?
Stop sharing so you could see here. Spotlight.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, perfect. So this is the book. It's called Rehumanize Your Business, and it's talking about video and how to do a better job creating video. And
by the way, Steve, if you're watching, I guess my copy got lost in the mail. Just saying.
hey, I bought this on Amazon. They didn't send it to me. I couldn't wait, so I actually bought this. And so what it talks about is really the videos that stand out the most and why. And so I'm going to share the screen back to you to go over exactly talking about some of that. Making your videos matter. First of all, you really only have a short little time on social and on email and just in videos in general to catch people's attention. And so at the very beginning, you really have to explain what this video is about rather than saying, hey, it's Tristan with Keller-Williams again. Thanks for joining me. Like, that's okay. Do that like 15 seconds in. At the very beginning, it should be, hey, I'm here to show you 5 things you need to go right into it. And then say, oh, by the way, I'm Tristan with Keller-Williams. Let's get into it. Explain the topic. Making your videos matter. The video should be long enough to explain the topic properly, whatever the topic is. And there's no need to rush. If people are interested, you're going to get people interested. Just make sure that you're explaining the topic correctly. And so next, making your videos matter, use proven tactics. So focus on demonstration. That's really important. Like if you're going through and showing how something works, it'd be awesome if you're actually there showing how it works. If you're going through and with an inspector, showing things to look for on a home inspection, that's great. You've got the inspector there with you. And then think of the consumer at this point. Lindsay, you're not a real estate agent, but when you look at videos and you would look at home hacks and home processes, you'd probably be more attracted to something having to do with not how to sell your home or how to buy a home if you're not in that market. But if you do have a home, you're interested in maybe some home hacks. Like,
totally.
Like
Yeah,
how
I mean, just
to have a better curb appeal or how to fix your garden to create more value, right? Things like that.
Yeah. Small digestible things that I could then go literally apply right after I watch the video is what would catch me more. You know, how to sell your home is a giant topic.
Exactly. That's the key. And then the world that we live in, unfortunately, it's come to this, but we've got to pay to play. You have to put money behind your ads on YouTube, behind your ads on Instagram, and even behind your ads on Facebook. It's just the way the world works. So boost it or go into Ads Manager, put $50 behind it, target the right audience, whether it's your community or a custom audience of your farm, you know, whatever that looks like. I think just a lot of people are posting it up there and saying, well, let's go, let's make it viral. And then they get like 10 views and they're like, what happened? It's like they may have the most amazing content, but nobody's seeing it. Right? So you guys are nuts.
I agree.
You know, nobody can see you two, by the way. They can only see the screen, so you're making me laugh.
They can see you. When I talk, they see me.
You're so funny. All right. Let me go to the next one here. So some people are asking, what tools do we use? And these are some of the tools that we use for our websites. WordPress is an easy blog / website you can use to create more blogs and just create more information.
There's a few that I would like to add to that page as well.
All right. LCA Marketing Center, you use that, Nick. I use that. It's our product.
I use it. It's good. And I use it.
Well, who's got that pretty notification? I like
Sorry,
that.
That was my calendar popping up.
Sounds like Disneyland.
When you said LCA Market Center, it went do.
It sounds like I just walked into Star Tours. Welcome to Star Tours.
It's like the Netflix. Ba-boom.
Oh yeah.
You guys need to brand a noise.
Ooh, I like it.
Can we trademark a noise?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Code agents.
I like that. That's a really good one.
Just record Nick.
All right, so
Nick.
you talk about these, and I'll talk about a couple new ones that I've recently discovered.
All right, cool. I know which one of them is really good at. Rev. All right, so here's why it's important. Rev is a captioning website where they caption your video for $1 a minute. And most videos are now watched with the sound off. 80% of videos are watched with no sound. Why? Because people at school, at their jobs, at meetings are watching and looking at Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, can I say something about that actually?
Go ahead. Shoot.
I read an article. I'll have to find it. Don't ask me the source. I'll have to find it. If I find it, I'll post it up. Tristan probably knows this is true. 90% of videos on Facebook are watched with the sound off when people are on the toilet.
That's actually, I have my volume on.
Well, there's always an outlet.
Tristan, I'm sure you can vouch for that stat.
I can vouch for the stat of watching videos while on the potty, but I have my sound on. I gotta tell you that. So I'm part of the 10%.
Can you vouch for the stat that you cannot go to the potty without your phone because you'd just be bored?
100%. 100%. That's 100% stat.
Lindsay's like, what time? You know, I gotta go, guys.
I'm surrounded by a bunch of dudes on the sales floor and dudes in my house.
I'll find that link. Ironically enough, I did find that article when I was on the Okay, Nick, go back to the screen.
Oh my gosh. All right, let me share the screen back. Yeah. All right, so the other company that we use is FirePoint. Obviously, when we're circulating our ads on social, we send people to FirePoint so that they have an IDX to search for property or look at the area with details. And then Vemly, if you haven't used Vemly, check it out. It's an amazing app to edit your videos. It allows for you to put a heading and a subheading, I guess it's called. And then also it allows for captioning too, but you have to pay for that. If your video is under a minute, it'll caption it automatically. You just have
I gotta get it.
Yeah, Vemly's really good. You just have to go in and fix it's like 98% accurate, so you have to go in and maybe fix a word or two. And then obviously SmartZip. SmartZip's a huge part of the automated process that we do for farming. We've been using it for a year and a half, almost 2 years, actually. Like, that's crazy.
I like it a lot.
For what? A lot. A SmartZip.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you a couple extra video apps. Big View is my new favorite. BIGVU. Big View.
View. All right, what does it do? Why do you love it?
I love it because I think it's on both Android and iPhone. I love it because it is a teleprompter app. Mm-hmm. So you can type in what you want to say and then read it as you're filming so you don't fumble over your words. And you pay for the premium version, which is super cheap. It's $60 a year, $5 a month, $60 a year. If you have a green screen, you can film in front of a green screen, and it will put a custom background on it for you, and you can add captioning and credits and titles and things. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's super awesome.
What's it called again?
Big View. BIGVU.
Okay.
Also, I like InShot. INSHOT.
I love InShot.
InShot's great because it allows you to add like little animations and text around your videos to make it look more appealing and fun.
You got it. All right. I love it. Anything you want to add, Lindsay? On this resources site?
I mean, obviously I'm biased towards SmartZip, you know.
I wonder why.
You know, my favorite one. But I think, you know, one of the most important things for, you know, agents out there, again, that are either wanting to farm or actively farming or farmed in the past and they weren't successful, that they have to, you know, realize that it's a really big commitment. It's not something that you should try. You know, don't ever say, I'm going to try farming. You know, do farming, you know, but know that that's going to be the part of your business that's meant for long term. right? That's your, like you guys have mentioned, it's building your pipeline. You guys should, as sales people, as sales professionals, we need things that help with long-term, and we also need things that are short-term, right? So when, we're talking about SmartZip with, brokers and realtors and teams, it doesn't mean that this is the only thing that you do in your business, right? It's like, it's a layer. But the cool thing is, and my little shameless plug here, is that we also can facilitate things that are not just for farming, with our platform. And, I had the most awesome call, Tristan, with Myra last week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was just so good, because I was just showing her all the features, all the tools that you guys have with having SmartZip that are just already with it, that aren't even directly related to your geo farm. People who aren't ready for a full geo farm can work with SmartZip at such a minimal cost and just circle prospect, or just small areas with
That's very true.
predictive analytics.
Also with SmartZip, you can easily run Facebook ads right through the dashboard to the area that you're farming. So that's super.
It's a great marketing, automated. Literally we've got over 500 and something templates for postcards and online ads you can choose from, and just already your branding's uploaded if you're just looking for a great marketing tool. Or you guys touched on how basically a third of people who sell their home, it's based off of reputation. We have Reach 150. It's one of the best recommendation, tools out there to collect testimonials from past clients, because it doesn't require that person to create an account to write you a review, which is what almost every, review tool does. So, we love to work with all kinds of agents, not just farming, but of course we specialize in the farming.
I love it. That's a good point that you brought up on the circle prospecting that I hadn't really thought of. So good. Which brings us to step number 5, engaging. I think a lot of the times we have the tools that go out and make a presence for us through like some type of a branding. And then we've got the newsletters and, like I said, the websites and the mailers, but we just don't engage with people when they get back to us.
This is the biggest problem in the industry.
Yeah. And Nick, go over this one. These are ways that we can engage.
Well, first of all, let me just say why it's the biggest problem in the industry, because technology is here to help us. It's not here to do the work for you. And if you want it to, then stop complaining about Zillow. I just had to say that. But what I'm saying is it's a double-edged sword, right? Like, we want technology to do it all, but then we're pissed off when it doesn't, because you still need a human being involved in order to, like you said, engage. So like when we get somebody who is inquiring about their home value through SmartZip, we have to engage. Like, you can't just expect them to pick up the phone and call you. Occasionally it does, but I'd say 99 times out of 100 they won't. So when you get that, inquiry, take action. Send them a CMA, drop it off at their house, do what you need to do to nurture them. So go door knocking, have at least a farm of 500 homes. Anything bigger than that could potentially just, not be as effective.
If you're newer, right? If you're newer.
Yeah, online communities are huge. I was just texting with Nikki Klein, who is an agent in Florida, in Boca Raton, and she did about 15 or 18 million of her 39 million in volume last year through online communities. She has Facebook groups for her neighborhood that she runs, and half of her business came from those Facebook communities.
Crazy.
So huge
That's
opportunity.
great that she tracked that too.
Yeah, she tracked that. She's huge. She's amazing.
She is.
Write handwritten notes, cards, little cards, send out.
So here's on the right notes. Here's where people fail when they go door knocking, or they get a response back from a mailer. People just kind of drop it after they call. Well, have a system in place where you actually take time to write a note and say, "Hey, Lindsay, it was great meeting you yesterday while I was door knocking. You'll see me around the neighborhood. If you have any questions, let me know. I've got a list of great vendors like an electrician, plumber, anybody you need. Just text me. Here's my number." Right? And now you put them you give them that note. Usually they don't get notes. And then you put them into a campaign, either on send out cards, which is automated, or a campaign through agent legend that's automated for your
Yep.
farm. And this way, you're engaging.
One of my favorite things to do when I'm writing a note or a thank you email, something like that, from a sales point of view, is always giving that person one action to do. Right. So like, as an example, if I was a realtor and I met someone, you know, I don't want to just say thank you for the conversation, you know, then I might also say, hey, check out this link or go check out my blog to see, you know, X, Y, and Z, and make it something that was hopefully relevant to your conversation if it was deep enough. But now you caught them to now want to go do something again related to you. And
you're giving them a call to action.
Yeah, a call to action, and
that's awesome.
Yeah. Also, I want to mention number 5, press release and community events. So my team recently sponsored an Easter egg hunt in the area that we're farming, and you know those are really great opportunities. And we collected, like, I would say like 20 or 25 names, numbers, and physical addresses that we're going to now retarget on Facebook, which is great. And it's a great way to get in front of people and just sponsor fun things in your area and the farm that you're prospecting.
Agreed. Love it. All right, let me check the next one. All right, we're 2 steps left. Step number 6, automate and leverage. I know we talked a little bit about automation and leverage. This is where we specialize. This is what we do, automate and leverage. What you can automate: postcard automation, postcard automated response, newsletters, drips to neighbors or neighborhoods. And I love spelling permission wrong, so that's how I spell permission.
Well, make sure you have permission before you do that.
Permission. Okay? And then number 5, card sending, gift cards, which we highlighted a little bit, but this is what we do with our mailers. And you can do this even if you're not using SmartZip, if you just have mailers that you're doing on your own. The reason we use SmartZip is because it's automated for us. I don't have to think about it. But on the postcards, we have a phone number on it, and it's a call action phone number. It's specific to the mailers only. This way, I know exactly what my ROI is. I know who called me from my postcards and what farm they're from, because they have specific phone numbers for them. And to me, that's super important, because a lot of times I hear agents say, well, I never get a phone call. But it's because you don't pick up the freaking phone. That's why.
True.
Right?
And also,
and you can track.
Please make sure that you have permission.
If you don't have permission, you're screwed. You can automate the newsletters, and we'll show you what company we use. And drips to neighbors. Like I said, if I meet Lindsay and she was really sweet to me and I wanted to continue a relationship in my farm with her, I would not only send her something in the mail, like a note, but I would also ask for permission to stay in contact with her.
Ask for permission.
Permission
because you don't want to bother her.
Exactly. There you go.
If you don't have the permission.
You might want to take a snapshot of this one. I know when we presented.
And I just want to say, make sure that you abide by the do not call list, because you don't have permission to call those people.
Dude, it's all about, our next presentation is, it's all about
permission.
So good, so good.
Never gets old. Never gets old.
Never. All right, you want to send out about 24 pieces a year. Now I have the percentage.
Can I just say one more thing? If you ask for permission, then these listings are going to come to fruition.
Fruitation. You don't even get into sexy pirates or Fizzbalicious.
No. Everything comes to fruition if you have permission.
There you go. You want to send out about 24 pieces a year, at least to your farm, 2 a month. What we do is we alternate. So we do have SmartZip sending out almost 1 piece every like 3.5 weeks, 3 weeks. I think that's what it is, Lindsay.
Yeah.
And then in between the other one, we have other mailers going out as well. And so we made this for you so you can see how the year looks. And it's just not all about open houses, just listed, just sold. This is why I'm amazing. You can see that we have other things in there as well. Top places to eat locally, top places for for dessert, what I've learned from living in this neighborhood, best local parks for kids, top 5 books to read. A story about Thanksgiving, obviously you send it out in November or late October. Quotes and setting goals for a new year, just things that are different that set you apart. Lindsay, if you were getting this in the mail, you'd be like, oh, wow, this is a little different. It's not the same thing. You're not just the #1 agent like everybody says you are.
Right.
So take a picture of that. Then obviously we have SmartZip built into what we do. The cool thing is that out of the farm that I have is 2,400 houses.
Right.
And I think from the 2,400 homes, you've identified the top 20% that we're mailing to is
Correct.
somewhere in the mid-4s, so 450.
480.
Okay, 480. Thanks for having that open. I love it. And so 480 mailers are going out almost every 4 weeks
Right.
to my farm. And then they're identifying people that may want to sell based on the algorithm that they have, whether they visited Home Depot and they started buying lots of stuff there, whether they had a baby, whether they just got a job, what they're looking at social. It's a whole bunch of stuff that they gather with the algorithm based on online and offline things that these people are doing. So I love using SmartZip. Anything you want to add on this part, Lindsay, because this is your specialty?
I mean, you pretty much, summarized it really well. It's about us always predicting people that are most likely to sell, at least 6 months before they're ready to do so. So that, like Nick just had with his recent listing appointment, you have the opportunity to get to them first, have a great relationship, and then properly nurturing them until they're ready to sell with you.
Well, real quick, because we didn't really get into this, Lindsay, about like how SmartZip works specifically with predictive analytics. We only have a few minutes left. I just want to get into that, right? So like, how do you guys identify the top 20% of people we should be targeting?
Yeah, so to even take a step back from the top 20%, we score every property in the United States that we have data on. It's a trillion, not trillion, but it's millions of properties. So most of the properties in the U.S., we are able to append thousands of data points on those properties itself. And it can be as simple as how long that property's been owned by a person, things about the owner, loan details, things like that. And we also look at some of the things Tristan mentioned, specific to that homeowner. And we score every property from 100 to 900, right? 100 being really not likely to sell, all the way to 900 being super duper likely to sell.
Lindsay, what's the website for SmartZip that they should go to? I had one person ask the price.
Oh yeah, www.smartzip.com. It will bring you to the main website.
Okay.
If you've got specific sales inquiries that you want to talk to one of my guys, we're really nice. They'll give you, good conversation. Let them know that you were part of the webinar, so they'll just know, oh, cool, you came from, from LCA. Then you could email sales@smartzip.com, and I'd get you to the right dedicated rep. But yeah, but going back to the...
I wanted to say something super cool, right? So, like, a lot of times people ask, like, how does SmartZip know when someone might be thinking of selling their home? And, like, obviously there's a gajillion different types of data points, right? Like, people searching online. Listen, there's no secrets anymore in the world of the internet. What they're doing online, whether they had a baby, whether they're getting married, there's lots of different things that people do online when things in their life change. So one of the coolest things that happened to me was a lady entered my 20% just like 2 months prior to her reaching out to me. She started getting my postcard. So I went over to her house for a listing appointment because she actually called me. And when I got there, I wanted to ask her why she was moving because I wanted to get some insight as to why she was such in a rush. And she said she just got married 3 months ago. And that was one of the data points that put her in my 20% when she wasn't previously in it. So she just got married and they want to have a family, and their 1,000 square foot home wasn't going to be big enough. And it just blew my mind, right, that you guys knew that and bumped her up, and she started receiving my postcards. And next thing I know, I'm at her house for a listing consultation.
Right. And the thing about one thing that we try to explain when we do the data, I mean, you were able to paint the picture after you spoke with her about, kind of maybe one of the leading factors. But when our algorithms are looking at a property, like it doesn't even necessarily see like, oh, this person got married, now they're going to sell. The algorithm can look at way beyond that, right? Like there's this many people now in this house, there's set amount of equity, it's only this big, this is what they probably are going to do. So you're not wrong either, Nick, but it also goes like so much bigger than
so much cheaper, but that's the part that's the part that I understand, right?
Right. And so that's the cool part, is that we can score every property in that way. And then if you build a farm with us, like you and Tristan have, then we take all the properties in just that farm and say, here's the top 20% to just focus on at a given time, because those ones are twice as likely, or sometimes more likely to sell in the next 6 to 12 months than all the ones in the bottom 80%. You're just bettering your odds. But even when people work with us, sometimes if you don't want to farm, maybe you just want to work on for your sphere. Maybe you just want to make sure your past clients stay your clients. Okay, then you upload your database, put it in there, and then we score them. Tristan, your hand is up.
Lindsay, I have a question. Thank you. Thank you for picking on me. Will this work if we don't work?
No.
Okay, maybe I thought.
I was just going to say something along those lines. Like, guys, there's nothing I hate more than an impatient realtor. Like, you got to give it more than a week. If you're going to farm a neighborhood with mailers, and you can't wait 6 months to start seeing results at the very minimum, please do us all a favor and do not invest in farming. Just don't get SmartZip, because it's
don't get
not
SmartZip. Yeah.
But if you want to create a business with direct mail farming and you want to target people that are probably most likely to sell, then do it. But the great thing about the SmartZip dashboard is it kind of tells you what you need to do next.
Yep.
Right? Like the person who gets your card, they inquire about their property, look on the dashboard. Okay, it's telling me I should send a CMA. Then it's telling me I should door knock. Then it's telling me I should do a pop-by. Then it's telling me I should call. So just go through the motions, because it will work if you invest time in it.
Agreed. All right.
Yeah.
Good points. All right, here's Call Action. And this is the company that we use. It's callaction.co, not .com. We use Call Action to put that phone number on our mailers, so we know who's calling us, so we know that this is actually working and our message is actually being delivered correctly. This is why we use Call Action for our phone numbers on postcards, different farms, different phone numbers, on our newsletters, so we know if we're getting calls from our newsletter, and in our signs, and you can use it for lots of other things too. What we use for our newsletters, Breakthrough Broker has some really good templates, and Home Actions, Breakthrough Broker is free. Home Actions is almost free. It's like $50.
I also love Keeping Current Matters.
Keeping Current Matters is really good. That's along the lines of Breakthrough Broker, where you can use a lot of their content.
Yeah,
Home Actions,
you can build your own stuff out, but I really like it.
And Home Actions is actually a newsletter company, so it's you could just plug in the information and then use them to send out your newsletter every week, and super easy.
That's pretty sweet.
Both of those. Agent Legend we talked about. We have a lot of our automation set in there. Dude, I feel like I'm saying persmission every time here.
Yeah, go back to that for a minute. We're using Agent Legend for expired. So after we do our expired calling, we put that, and they're not ready at that moment, we put them on Agent Legend campaigns to just kind of stay in front of them with texts and emails and stuff. Yeah, and you would use this for farming. We have permission to do that, guys. We have permission to do that. You have to have permission, or it won't work. No. That's never going to get old now. Automate your card templating here, so we could use that. There's lots of templates to use from here, and there's lots of. By the way, bonds.co went out of business. So that when you're mailing, it goes out through this drip. It's beautiful. Use it. And then Nick uses Bond, but I don't use Bond, but they did go out of business. I use handwritten.com. Now you use handwritten. Got it. And then Inkly, Letter Friend, and obviously send out cards. You use Kelle&Command, right, Nick? So yes. If you're a KW agent and you want to send out updated market snapshots, you can use Kelle. And you can add Kelle to your campaigns, and they update with the MLS, so it's free, and I love it.
Awesome. Now, step number 7. Here's where a lot of agents never get to. They just kind of give up and they're like, well, this crap didn't work. Or it was working and now it doesn't work. What happened? That's because
What happened? What happened?
you have to reanalyze, right? Remember always the most important factor in choosing an agent for sellers is reputation. Reputation is huge.
Yeah.
Second, they look for honesty. Then they look to their friends to be like, hey, do you know anybody? And then knowledge, right?
By the way,
other ones are combined with 24%. So remember one thing, reputation is huge on this
clearly
one.
you don't have to be as honest to have a good reputation.
You don't. They don't go hand in hand. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Listen, what they don't know won't hurt them.
That's right. So here's what you ask yourself routinely. I'd say every 6 months, look to see where you're at so you can reanalyze and say, look, is my farm the right size? Did I start too big? Did I start too small? Or am I outgrowing my farm? Like I'm at 480, even though it's like 2,400, I think, but really 480 that are being mailed out to. Is that good enough for me? I don't know. I've only done it for a certain amount of time here because it's a new farm that I got. Branding, is my branding still what I want it to be? The content that I'm delivering, is it right? Have I gotten good feedback from it? Am I having events? Are these events doing any justice to my brand, to my team? Should I change it up? And then I'm always thinking, and I know Nick's always thinking the same thing, what can we automate? Right? What can we automate? That's what we're always looking to do. And Nick, it's your favorite quote.
Leverage is the new hustle, baby.
That's right. So always be looking to leverage whatever it is that you're looking at. In this case, farming, we're using SmartZip to help us leverage.
Auto campaigns, email newsletters, people that do things better than you, which is most people in my case. And I just think that, it's super important to just let the technology and let the people that you start to use do their job, and everything starts to fall into place.
You got it. That's super key. And then I think that might be the last slide. So
yeah,
Nick, tell me a little bit about Lab Coat Agents Live, LCA Live.
I gotta jump off in a minute, but labcoatagentslive.com. It's our let's stop sharing the leverage as a new hustle. LabCoatAgentsLive.com, June 18th and 19th at Hotel del Coronado. We have 40 speakers. It's 2 days of jam-packed information. And what I love about SmartZip is, like I said before, it goes back to basics, right? But it also incorporates technology. So the focus of the conference this year are back to basics and using technology as our friend to help us get the best results. There's a shift going on right now, not just a market shift, but a tech shift. And it's so important to use technology that also connects us to our current and past clients on a deeper level. So go to LCA, labcoatagentslive.com, get your early bird tickets for $3.99. Hoping SmartZip's going to be there. Lindsay,
We'll be there. Don't worry.
Right. But I have to jump off because I have an appointment. But Tristan, you continue on talking about.
That's it. We're done. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for going. Any questions on SmartZip, you go to smartzip.com. I posted up the link up there. And Lab Coat Agents for the event, labcoatagentslive.com. Thank you, Lindsay. Is there a phone number that people should be calling or just the website?
The general sales phone number is 855-661-1064, but you'll see that on the website. And you can email me, ljung@smartzip.com. I'll route you to the best person.
Awesome.
Don't be afraid to reach out to us.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Thanks,
everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.